Why you're not enjoying life anymore, the hidden cause. Have you noticed it? That dull, invisible fog hanging over your days? You wake up, scroll, eat, maybe work, scroll again, crash back into bed. You're technically alive, but you're not feeling it. You're not enjoying it like you used to. You laugh, but it's not deep. You rest, but it's not refreshing. You accomplish things, but they feel hollow, and what's worse, you don't even know why. This isn't just you, this is millions of people. We're all living in an age of abundance, yet starving for meaning. We have access to more pleasure, more entertainment, more stimulation than any generation before us, and yet all of it feels strangely empty. The moments that used to bring joy now feel like checkboxes. Conversations feel surface level. Achievements get lost in the noise and replaced instantly by the next goal. And the question creeps in silently, dangerously, is this it? Let's stop and really confront this. Why is it that in a world where we can have almost anything instantly, information, food, connection, attention, we're enjoying life less? Why does it feel like the more we have, the less we feel? Why does it seem like our capacity for joy is shrinking, even as the world explodes with content designed to entertain us? The hidden cause is subtle. It's not what you think. It's not your job. It's not your relationship. It's not even your mental health, although all of those can be affected by it. The hidden cause is philosophical. It's existential, and it's this. We've detached ourselves from the depth of experience. We've traded immersion for stimulation. We've mistaken intensity for meaning. We've become consumers of life rather than participants in it.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
And this didn't happen overnight. It happened gradually, invisibly. We optimized everything. We made life efficient. We automated, streamlined, digitized, and simplified. We made it easier to be alive, but harder to feel alive. And now we're left in a strange paradox. Life has never been more convenient, but it's never felt more distant. Have you ever noticed how quickly we move on from things now? You watch a beautiful sunset and your first impulse is to take a picture, not to feel it, but to capture it. You hear a song that moves you, and before you let the feeling settle, you're already skipping to the next track. We don't sit with beauty anymore. We don't let awe wash over us. We collect moments like trophies, but forget to experience them. The philosopher Søren Kierkegaard warned us about this in the 19th century. He said that the greatest danger wasn't despair, it was distraction, that we would become so busy with trivialities that we'd forget to live. And he was right. We've become so overstimulated that our inner world is numb, so flooded with options that we've lost the ability to choose deeply. And it's in that numbness that joy quietly dies. Not with a scream, but with a shrug. Joy isn't just a feeling, it's an awareness. It's the recognition of something meaningful, something real, something that resonates with who we are beneath the surface. And here's the brutal truth. You can't experience joy if you're never fully present. If every moment is just a stepping stone to the next, if every experience is filtered through comparison, judgment, or distraction, then even the most beautiful parts of life will feel dull. So ask yourself, when was the last time you were fully present? Not just physically there, but mentally and emotionally immersed in the now. When was the last time you watched a sunset without trying to capture it? When was the last time you listened to someone without planning your response? When was the last time you ate a meal and actually tasted it? We've lost touch with the art of attention, and attention is the gateway to joy. Without it, life becomes a blur. Days blend together, moments slip through our fingers. We wake up one day and realize we've been alive but not living, and that realization hurts. But here's the good news. The way back is not complicated. It doesn't require a spiritual retreat or deleting all your apps. It starts with noticing, with choosing to see again, to feel again, to engage again. It starts when you realize that the small, quiet moments, those are the ones that carry the most meaning, not the ones that go viral, not the ones that look best on camera, the ones that whisper, not scream. So if you're not enjoying life anymore, maybe it's not because something is wrong with your life. Maybe it's because you've been trained to experience it from a distance. Maybe it's time to stop scrolling past your own existence. Maybe it's time to return to presence, to depth, to meaning. The myth of constant happiness. Why chasing feel-good moments is making you miserable. We've been sold a lie. Not the kind you hear once and dismiss, but the kind that embeds itself into the fabric of your thinking until it feels like truth. The lie is this, that life is supposed to feel good all the time, that happiness is the default setting, that if you're not constantly feeling upbeat, content and fulfilled, something is wrong with you. That lie is everywhere, in commercials, in social media captions, in the self-help industry that promises 10 steps to eternal bliss. And we believed it, most of us did. Why wouldn't we? It's what we were raised on. But now we're starting to feel the consequences. We're not just unhappy, we feel broken for being unhappy. And that right there is the hidden trap. The pursuit of feel-good moments has become the compass by which we navigate life. We swipe, scroll, binge, consume, always looking for the next hit of stimulation, the next laugh, the next dopamine rush. And when it doesn't come, when life gets quiet or hard or flat, we panic. We interpret that stillness as failure, and yet the irony is that by chasing happiness relentlessly, we've made ourselves miserable. Because we've confused happiness with pleasure, and we've forgotten that real happiness, deep, lasting, soul-level contentment, doesn't come from constant stimulation. It comes from engagement, from meaning, from struggle, from depth. The philosopher Epicurus knew this all the way back in ancient Greece. He said that pleasure is not the constant pursuit of indulgence, but a state of tranquility, a quiet satisfaction with the simple things. The problem is we've taken the concept of pleasure and weaponized it. We've turned it into an endless treadmill, and here's the kicker, the more we chase it, the more it escapes us. Because anything you need to be happy has the power to make you miserable. Ask yourself this, what are you afraid would happen if you just sat with your discomfort instead of trying to fix it? What if you didn't distract yourself from sadness or boredom or loneliness, but actually listened to it? What would it say? What would it reveal? Our modern world has trained us to avoid those moments like the plague, but the truth is, those are the moments that shape us. Those are the moments when we grow, when we confront the parts of ourselves that easy pleasure has kept buried. Here's what most people don't realize. Joy and pain come from the same place. If you numb one, you numb the other. You can't selectively mute the human experience. When we dull our pain with distraction, we also dull our joy. When we avoid discomfort at all costs, we also avoid transformation, and so we become flat, not broken, just muted. Alive but not really living. Montaigne, the French philosopher who practically invented the personal essay, once said, "A man who fears suffering already suffers from what he fears." That's profound. We suffer more from the avoidance of pain than from pain itself, and that avoidance steals our joy, because real joy isn't about escaping suffering. It's about finding meaning in the midst of it. It's about learning to live with the full spectrum of what it means to be human, instead of constantly running from the hard parts. Imagine what would change if you stopped chasing happiness like a prize and started cultivating it like a garden. Gardens don't bloom overnight. They require patience, attention, seasons of barrenness and rain. But when they bloom, they carry a richness that quick pleasures can never replicate. What if your life is the same? What if the emptiness you feel isn't a sign that you're failing, but a sign that you're looking in the wrong direction? So many of us are addicted to the high notes, but life isn't a highlight reel, it's a symphony. And the beauty of a symphony isn't in the constant crescendo, it's in the contrast, the pauses, the minor notes, the tension that makes the resolution satisfying. If you only seek the peaks, you'll miss the music, you'll miss the story, you'll miss the essence of what makes life worth living. So the next time you feel numb, don't ask, "How do I fix this?" Ask instead, "What is this moment asking of me?" Maybe it's asking you to slow down, to feel something uncomfortable, to stop running. Maybe it's asking you to pay attention to the parts of your life you've been ignoring. Maybe it's asking you to stop chasing happiness like a hungry ghost and start building a life that has space for everything, the joy, the sadness, the wonder, the grief. Because here's the truth. You're not here to feel good all the time. You're here to feel everything. And when you stop demanding that life always feel amazing, something incredible happens. You begin to enjoy it again, not because it got easier, but because you got deeper. Depth over distraction, reclaiming the lost art of presence in a noisy world. We live in a time where being present feels almost unnatural. The moment we try to slow down, to be still, a dozen notifications pull us out of ourselves. We reach for our phones without thinking, scroll through headlines we don't read, watch videos we don't even remember. We are surrounded by information, stimulation, noise, and yet we are starved for presence. Starved for the kind of deep, undivided attention that makes life feel real. What we've gained in access, we've lost in depth. And if you've been feeling like life is passing you by, like you're watching it more than living it, this might be why. Presence is not just about where you are physically, it's about where your mind is, where your soul is. And most of us are scattered. We're here, but not really. We're thinking about tomorrow, regretting yesterday, comparing ourselves to others, planning our next move. We're anywhere but now. And the now, the present moment, is the only place where life is actually happening. Everything else is a mental simulation. You can't experience joy in the future or the past. You only feel it when you arrive in the moment. But how often do we truly arrive? It's no accident that we're distracted. Distraction is profitable. Entire industries are built on keeping us slightly dissatisfied, slightly anxious, slightly entertained, just enough to keep us coming back, but never enough to make us feel whole. And we've internalized this. We've made distraction our normal. We check our phones in the middle of conversations. We multitask through meals. We scroll through sunsets. We've lost the ability to just be. And in that loss, we've lost our connection to the richness of experience. What would it feel like to reclaim that? To sit with a friend and be fully there, not just waiting for your turn to speak, but listening, really listening, as if their words were the most important thing in the world. What would it feel like to walk outside and notice the way the light moves through the trees, the texture of the air, the sound of the world breathing around you? These aren't small things. These are the building blocks of a meaningful life. But we miss them over and over because we're chasing the next thing, the next thrill, the next distraction. Philosophers like Heidegger warned us about this. He said we live in forgetfulness of being, a state where we're so caught up in doing that we forget how to simply exist. We become lost in the machinery of everyday life, disconnected from the essence of living. And the tragedy is, we don't even realize it's happening. We think we're just tired, just busy, just stressed. But underneath all of that is a deeper wound. We've forgotten how to be here. But it's not too late. Presence is a skill, and like any skill, it can be practiced. It starts small. You put your phone down during a meal. You take a walk without headphones. You breathe deeply when your mind wants to rush away. You notice your thoughts, but you don't follow all of them. You begin to choose attention over reaction. And slowly, something shifts. The world starts to feel vibrant again. The colors come back. The moments stop blurring together. You begin to feel your life. Really feel it, instead of watching it from a distance. And the beautiful irony is, the more present you become, the more time seems to expand. When you are fully in a moment, a minute can feel like an hour, not because it drags, but because it's full. Because you're no longer skipping across the surface of life, but diving in. And in that depth, you rediscover joy. Not the flashy, adrenaline-fueled kind, but the quiet, steady kind that comes from being here. So ask yourself, what is stealing your presence? Is it your phone, your thoughts, your need to always be productive? Whatever it is, it's costing you more than time. It's costing you your connection to life itself. And until you reclaim that connection, no amount of success, entertainment, or achievement will satisfy you. The path back to joy is not paved with more, it's paved with less. Less noise, less speed, less distraction, and more depth. More silence, more attention, more presence. That's where life is waiting. You were never meant to be happy all the time. You were meant to be whole. There's an idea we've quietly absorbed, one that sounds innocent but distorts everything, that the purpose of life is to be happy, not just occasionally but constantly, that if we're not happy, something is wrong, that sadness is a problem, that discomfort is failure, that struggle means we're off course. But what if that idea isn't just wrong, it's dangerous? What if the endless pursuit of happiness is the very thing that's making us feel so lost? You were never meant to be happy all the time. You were meant to be whole. And being whole means allowing space for the full spectrum of your humanity. It means welcoming not just joy but sorrow, not just clarity but confusion, not just peace but restlessness. Wholeness doesn't mean arriving at some final state where everything is perfect. It means learning how to hold the contradictions of life without running from them. It means understanding that being human is not a problem to solve, but a mystery to live. We've been conditioned to believe that negative emotions are a malfunction, that if we feel anxious, we need to fix it. If we feel down, we must escape it. But those emotions aren't bugs in the system. They're part of the design. They carry messages, they point to what matters, they reveal what we care about. The pain you feel is not a sign that you're broken, it's a sign that you're alive. Think about it. Would you really want a life without sadness, without fear, without grief? Those are the emotions that deepen us, that connect us, that make joy mean something. Without the contrast, happiness becomes flat, hollow. It becomes a performance instead of a presence. And so many of us are performing happiness while feeling deeply disconnected inside because we've been taught that to admit sadness is to admit weakness. But the truth is, it's the opposite. Only the brave allow themselves to be seen in their fullness. Only the strong can sit with discomfort without numbing it. Carl Jung once said, "I'd rather be whole than good." That's a radical statement, because goodness as we've come to define it is often about appearance, about control, about suppressing the darker parts of ourselves in order to fit in. But wholeness invites all of it. It says, you can bring your joy and your grief, your wisdom and your confusion, your light and your shadow. It's not about perfection, it's about integration. And when we begin to live from that place, something incredible happens. Life stops needing to be perfect in order to be beautiful. You stop needing everything to go right in order to feel content. You begin to find meaning in the quiet, in the uncertain, in the ordinary. You stop chasing peak experiences and start honoring everyday existence. You discover that joy isn't something you pursue, it's something that arises when you stop resisting what is. So ask yourself, what parts of yourself have you been rejecting in the name of happiness? What emotions have you labeled as wrong or inconvenient? What parts of your story have you tried to edit out? And what would it look like to welcome them back? Not as problems to fix, but as pieces of your soul asking to be seen. This is the deepest truth. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to feel amazing every day. What you do need is to be honest, to be present, to be real. Because real life isn't always pretty, but it's always meaningful when you're willing to show up for it. Wholeness is not a destination. It's a practice, a commitment to staying open even when it hurts, a willingness to feel the full weight of your own aliveness. And when you live like that, when you stop running, numbing, avoiding, you find something richer than happiness. You find peace, you find depth, you find a kind of joy that doesn't depend on your circumstances, but flows from your presence. So maybe the reason you haven't been enjoying life isn't because you're doing it wrong. Maybe it's because you've been trying to be happy when what your soul really craves is to be whole.